Breaking news at 11 in the legal battle to send National Guard troops to Portland, now from several different states.
There's a reason we were able to get into court so darn fast on this. That's because we were prepared.
Plus, the city of Portland planning a lawsuit against federal officers following clashes with demonstrators outside the ICE facility.
I think they're creating a public health emergency with the use of the tear gas in their residential areas.
And one lawmaker trying to bring attention to what she says is a looming health care crisis amid the government shutdown.
They need to come and work with us to solve a serious problem in front of our country.
Breaking news developments tonight over the federal government's attempt to mobilize National Guard troops to Portland. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm Tim Gordon. Following an emergency hearing, a federal judge blocked the deployment of troops from any state to the Rose City. John Adams joins us from the newsroom. John, fill us in on what's happened today. A lot
has happened today, Tim. Just in the last few hours, U.S. District Judge Karen Immergitt granted a motion for a second temporary restraining order blocking the deployment of both the California and the Texas National Guard from responding to Portland. We know about 100 California National Guard troops had already arrived at Camp Withicum in Happy Valley. Now, this, of course, comes on the heels of a temporary restraining order being granted yesterday, blocking the Oregon National Guard from responding.
Just hours after a federal judge temporarily blocked Oregon National Guard troops from deploying in Portland, members of the California National Guard were on their way to the Portland area by order of President Trump. 101 troops who were federalized in June landed in Oregon Saturday night. Another 99 were on the way by Sunday.
What was unlawful yesterday is unlawful today. What was unlawful with the Oregon National Guard is unlawful with the California National Guard.
As the California Guard troops assemble at Camp Withicum, state leaders then found out on Sunday that Secretary of War Pete Hegseth announced plans to mobilize the Texas National Guard troops to Oregon and Illinois.
Portland is burning to the ground. It's insurrectionists all over the place. It's Antifa.
President Trump spoke about the situation in Portland Sunday morning, doubling down on his claims about the Rose City.
The politicians are afraid for their lives. That's the only reason that they say, like, there's nothing happening. And you've seen it. The place is burning down and they pretend like there's nothing happening.
An emergency hearing was held Sunday night. Judge Karen Immergitt, who was appointed by President Trump, demanded to know how the move to send California and Texas troops to Oregon wasn't an attempt to circumvent her temporary restraining order issued on Saturday. At the end of the hearing, she issued a new restraining order blocking troops into Portland from any state.
She again granted our temporary restraining orders, this time a broader temporary restraining order, pausing all attempts to bring any National Guard from any state to the city of Portland.
Portland's mayor also reaffirming his stance that no federalized Guard troops are needed in the city.
This is yet another unnecessary and inflammatory attempt by the president to deploy outside troops in Portland where no intervention is warranted.
And in a statement late Sunday night, Governor Kotek said this ruling is another validation of the facts on the ground in Portland. It is also a clear and forceful rebuttal to President Trump's misuse of states' National Guard. The rule of law must stand. This is not just about Oregon or a handful of states anymore. It's about the integrity of our democracy.
Now, in response to all of this, the Trump administration has filed a motion with the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals for an emergency pause of the judge's decision tonight. The Trump administration said Immergitt impermissibly second-guessed President Trump's military judgments. Tim?
All right, John, thanks for all the latest developments tonight. Well, let's take a live look now at the ICE facility on South Macadam. Our crew on the scene tells us in the past hour or so, they witnessed altercations and an arrest by Portland police, also the use of pepper balls and tear gas on the crowd by federal officers. Again, the Trump administration is using this area as justification for sending in troops. Today, the Portland branch of the FBI said they made 5 felony arrests over the last 24 hours, bringing the total number of arrests since June up to 147. And during a press conference earlier today, Mayor Wilson said they're also planning to file a civil rights lawsuit against federal police, DHS, and ICE for their actions at the facility. Yesterday, federal officers appeared to take a more aggressive approach to demonstrators, firing pepper balls and sending tear gas into the area.
Indiscriminate use of impact munitions to disperse an otherwise peaceful crowd. Indiscriminately discharging pepper spray. We saw a sniper on the roof of the ICE facility. This is not what we typically look at in crowd control or peaceful protests. This is an aggressive approach trying to inflame a situation that has otherwise been peaceful.
Mayor Wilson also claimed federal officers are trying to antagonize crowds who are otherwise protesting lawfully. Stay with KGW for continuing coverage of these protests, plus any further developments on the possible deployment of National Guard troops to Portland. Look for that here on air, on KGW.com and on KGW+. All right, it's only early October, but there's going to be a few locations around the state that could be seeing overnight lows dropping down into the upper 20s, the low 30s. Meteorologist Joe Neary's here with more on where those freezing temps are going to be, Joe.
Well, I can tell you this, it won't be in the metro area or throughout the valley. And no, you don't get your home winterized just yet, but keep that in the back of your mind because you are going to be seeing temperatures really drop throughout the central and eastern side of the state. So the frost advisory will be throughout parts of the Columbia River Gorge overnight tonight. We also have a freeze warning for early October throughout parts of John Day, Bend, and Madras, and over in the high desert. Overnight lows will be dropping down to the upper 20s to the low 30s. Here locally tomorrow, a picture perfect day, a lot of sunshine. We'll also have that east wind, and yeah, temperatures will be flirting with 80 degrees. I think it's going to be anywhere from 75 to 78 degrees is that window throughout the metro area and throughout the valley. Well above average temperatures for tomorrow. Strong east wind with gusts up to about 40 miles an hour throughout parts of the Gorge, Hood River, and east. You get into parts of east side of Multnomah County, you'll definitely be seeing the winds picking up, and we'll notice the winds throughout much of the metro area. But because of those winds, we're going to be seeing clear skies all day tomorrow and heading into all day Tuesday as well. We do have some changes in the forecast. That's not going to arrive until the later part of this week. I'll have more details on that coming up in about 10 minutes from now.
All right, we'll see you then. Thanks, Joe. Portland police are searching for the suspect or suspects behind a shooting that left a man with life-threatening injuries. Officers were called just after 5:30 this morning to the area of Southeast Foster Road and 88th Avenue. There they found a man sitting in a car with multiple gunshot wounds. No one was arrested at the time. The homicide unit did respond due to the seriousness of the incident. Portland police ask anyone with information to get in touch with them. Well, millions of people who rely on food stamps and family aid through federal programs could be at risk of losing assistance during the government shutdown. That's because funding was cut off on September 30th. As Jen Sullivan reports, these crucial programs are now drawing on reserve funds until the government passes a new spending plan.
This is baby Zave. He's now 1.5 and thriving. But his mom, Ashley Vasquez, says that wasn't always the case.
He just didn't have an appetite and he wasn't putting on weight.
Zave was put on special nutritional drinks that his family received through WIC, federal-funded program for women, infants, and children. It provides aid to more than 6 million low-income families to help cover expenses for food, breastfeeding support, and health education. But that money could soon be at risk if the government shutdown continues.
For really young children whose sole source of nutrition may be infant formula, the loss of WIC would be absolutely devastating because their families don't have other options.
Nell Menifee-Leiby with the National WIC Association says if the government doesn't pass a spending bill within the next 2 weeks, funding will likely run out.
That really puts us in a crisis point very quickly.
Funding for other assistance programs like the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program known as SNAP could also be at risk. Roughly 42 million people depend on SNAP to help cover groceries. October's benefits were already sent out, but come November 1st, it's unclear whether people will receive assistance as politicians continue to debate.
Republicans refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credit.
This is not about health care. This is about Democrats wanting to show their progressive left base that they are fighting against Donald Trump.
Meanwhile, it leaves vulnerable parents like Ashley Vasquez unsure how they're going to pay for their families. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
One U.S. senator is calling attention to what she says is a health care crisis that threatens to shut down small businesses. Senator Patty Murray from Washington says the one big beautiful bill, as it's been called, did not continue health care tax credits that millions of people get under the Affordable Care Act. She says that means health care costs are about to more than double, especially for the small business owners and self-employed workers who are likely to get health care through the ACA marketplace.
Those hikes are going to mean hard decisions. Some will have to offer plans with worse benefits, and their employees will have to pay higher premiums. Some will stop offering coverage to their employees altogether. And many small businesses, which account for half of job growth, will have to stop hiring. Many will have to let people go.
Now, Senator Murray was joined by the Oregon hospital leaders who warned cuts to the ACA also threaten people with insurance because hospitals will see more uninsured people who can't pay for care, and it'll be on those with insurance who have to shoulder the cost. Democrats have blocked bills that would reopen the government because they did not restore that health care funding. On the other hand, Republicans accuse them of trying to pick a fight with President Trump rather than trying to reopen the government. Well, here's a bright spot for us. Runners took to the streets for the Portland Marathon and Half Marathon this morning. A sellout event with a substantially larger turnout this year, according to organizers. Jake Holter has a story from the final stretch.
We spoke to runners young and old, first-timers and Boston Marathon qualifiers, everyone agreeing that it was the perfect day to pound the pavement here in Portland.
The longest I'd ever run before today was 8 miles.
Tougher than I thought.
Runners were all smiles Sunday after finishing up the Portland Marathon and Half Marathon.
I ran a course record. I ran it the past 2 years and got 2:59 and then 2:58, and then this time I ran 2:47, I think. So pretty good.
This was 20-year-old Micah Margison's 4th marathon, and he's qualified for Boston. But he was most excited to have his fiancée run the half while he ran the full.
I love you.
He met her at the finish line with flowers.
I saw him twice, and it was so great. That gave me so much more energy than I thought I had.
I'm really proud of her. I told her last week that I'd be proud of her no matter what happened.
But first-time racer Malia Harvey wasn't only doing it for Micah.
Well, my dad used to run the half, and he passed away. And so I really wanted to honor him, and I really wanted to do it. And then I talked one of my friends into it, so I'm like, shoot, now I have to do it. And then he signed up for the marathon, so I felt like there's no turning back.
And Malia wasn't the only first-timer. 71-year-old Glenn Buck ran his first half marathon Sunday.
Probably the first 6 miles is okay, and then coming up that hill near the end, and what was it, mile 8? That was tough. But okay, I had my daughter and son-in-law pacing me. They were helping me out a lot, so it went really well.
And first-time racer Hannah Anderson decided the night before that she was going to do it.
Signed up a while ago. I was like, nah, it's not going to happen. I haven't really trained, have a bad knee. And then last night I was like, I signed up. I'm going to run it. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to see how it goes. And it was good.
Organizers say the race had nearly 3,000 more runners this year versus last year, which they say is likely due to this year's Nike sponsorship. KGW also drove by the section of the race near the ice facility, but didn't see any disturbances. Jake Holter, KGW News.